welcome to another episode of Warhammer 40,000. It's 7th edition, and another unique terrain set up here. It's Imperial Guard versus Tau, and they're playing on this, what was a desert, but the rains have come, and there's some vegetation growing, some trees, loose rocks, and then this sculpted sandstone. Not much of a sign of civilization, just coming round. There's some signs that the Imperial Guard have already been here. There's an ammunition dump there, some tank traps, but other than that, and it's quite a barren place. So we're excited about this one. It's nice set up here with the terrain, and then two armies, Imperial Guard but with a twist, they're carrying a super heavy tank, and then the brand new Tau army as well, playing its second game. And we're surprised at these two armies. We haven't played off against each other before, but better late than never. Alright, welcome to another episode of Warhammer 40,000. It's 7th edition. It's the new Tau force, and this time we're taking on Imperial Guard in a game of Warhammer 40,000 Escalation. James has got a super heavy tank in his force, so it'll be a tough one for the Tau here. A new experience for us. We haven't played Escalation before, so it's 1850 points, but there will be a super heavy tank featuring in this game. So here is the new 1850 points Tau force in command here. This is the Warlord, one commander for the Tau, 2 drones to protect him, cyclic iron blaster and plasma rifle, and then iridium armor upgrades, his toughness 5 and a 2+ save. And at the back here, elites, 1 unit of 3 crisis battle suits. That's 2 drones protecting them with fusion blasters and plasma rifles. And then coming across another unit of XV8 crisis suits. So it's a twin-linked fusion blasters, and then missile pods as well, and 2 drones protecting them. And then that unit has a team leader in charge as well. And coming down, 10 Pathfinders, all equipped with pulse carbines and marker lights. There's no team leader there, no upgrades at all, just standard unit of 10. Then the Riptide, so the Tau have got something big in this game. Got a Riptide here, ion accelerator and twin-linked fusion blasters. And coming down for troops here, 2 units of Crute, 2 units of 12, no upgrades or shaper for them, just 2 units of Crute there. Then heavy support, unit of 3 XV88s with 4 missile drone protection and twin-linked heavy rail rifles, and then twin-linked plasma rifles as well. Then 2 hammerheads with disruption pods, smart missile systems, and then rail guns with submunition. And then the one here with the guy coming out of the turret is upgraded to long strike. So it's a good game for him. Preferred enemy Imperial Guard. So we'll be looking to see how well he does, and see if he can have an impact on James's super heavy tank. And then finally, 2 units of 12 fire warriors with all armed with pulse rifles, and then the Imperial at 50 points as well. So you've got a Tau gun line there, you've got the tanks, crisis suits, Riptide. It's a nice diverse force for the Tau, but they have a tough task tonight, playing off against the Imperial Guard and the super heavy tank. So looking forward to this one. The tension is running high as these two forces prepare to fight it out on this terrain. Right, this is my 1850 Imperial Guard Escalation army. First off, we've got the platoon command, which is armed with a close combat weapon, las pistol, and we've got a voxcaster, flamer, and a las cannon, and a dedicated transport is the Chimera. I have 2 squads, regular squads these are, a grenade launcher, voxcaster, and a las cannon, and exactly the same as second squad. The platoon. I have a commissar. I've paid points for a power fist, and I have 30 conscripts or white shields, and I've got a heavy weapons squad of mortars. That's the platoon.
And over here we have the company command. His warlord trait is he gets to issue an extra order. And we've got a Voxcaster, heavy flamer and 2 metal guns. And the dedicated transport is the Chimera with dozer blade and a hole mounted heavy flamer. I have the old stormtroopers, which they are now called Tempests. Each of them have got hell guns or hotshot las guns, but 2 of them have got flamer and a grenade launcher, and the sergeant is equipped with a power sword and hotshot las pistol. I have 6 ratlings for 60 points. I have a hellhound with a hole mounted heavy flamer, dozer blade, and the extra point for the smoke launchers. I have 2 Lehman Russ demolishers. I have Sponson heavy bolters and a hole mounted heavy bolter. And my Escalation Lords of War choice.
What is that?
This is the Storm Sword, which is equipped with the Storm Sword cannon. If you want to know the rules for it, it is range 36, strength 10, AP 1, apocalyptic blast, heavy 1, ignores cover saves.
That's ridiculous.
Exactly. I've paid, just to let you know, I've paid the 50 extra points for the sponsons as well. So there you go. That's my escalation force to take on the Tau.
Right, so Tau have got their work cut out here. Dear oh dear. If you heard the stats for that tank, apocalyptic blast, strength 10, and ignores cover, lunacy, madness. So the Tau are on the hunt. The only bonus here for us is that for every 3 hull points that we get counts as 1 victory point in escalation rules. So it's worth taking on the super heavy. No doubt that the Tau will try and do that and hatch a plan to try and get rid of it. If that dominates the field, then the game will be lost. I can imagine that blowing away whole chunks of the Tau force per turn. So that's got to be dealt with somehow. The Tau are going to have to think of something that they can do. But they are the masters of battle plans, so they should be fine. And then also James's force has only got 1 troops choice, so it's not a bound army, it's an unbound army. So that gives them a slight disadvantage for holding these objectives. But other than that, it's a nice force for the Imperial Guard. It's still quite large looking, even though he's taken such a unit that has such an amount of points taken up. Still a large looking force. So we're looking forward to this game, and I'm sure it's going to be a unique experience. So we're going to move on to scenario and deployment for this game. Right, so the scenario is Crusade. We've rolled up for objectives, there's 3 of them. And then the deployment is Dawn of War. So James's Imperial Guard will be 12 inches deploying in here, just the dice marking it running up along there. And then around the other side, the Tau are just setting up 12 inches along here. Tau objective is there. And then James has placed an objective right there in the open. Just going to make this game very interesting indeed. And then coming around is actually tucked the 3rd objective just behind the woods there. So this kind of zone is where the objectives are. So expect some close quarter stuff going on, perhaps, but it's hard to predict. The Tau will be deploying first, and they will go first unless James can steal the initiative. So we're going to go on to deployment now for this game. So the actual surface that we're playing on is a battle map, would you believe? So you can see the texture of it there. It's similar to the stuff you get for mouse mats on your computer. You've got this very flexible, soft, rubbery stuff underneath, and then like that mouse mat finish with all of the details printed on there. It rolls up nicely, you let it down and it just falls into place. There's no bumps, no creases. Very nice bit of kit. It's actually made by a company called gamemat.eu. They do a selection, different types. You can get city fight stuff, grassland like we got here, parched wasteland. I'm sure they're going to be bringing out other ones as well. But a nice surface, figure friendly as well. You can drop your lead figures and it doesn't do any damage. So check them out. It's a brilliant surface for putting your terrain on. We just rolled the mat out, put on some features, some loose rocks, some lichen, some trees, and then that is the finish that we've managed to achieve. So it's as a base for your games, then these mats are absolutely superb. So we're excited about those. Very easy to set up games now. And we did have the tiles, but you could see the lines. But here it's just a 6x4 mat. It rolls out, and away you go. So it's a nice bit of kit. GameMat.eu. Very impressed with what they've produced. Right, so deployment for the tower. Riptide on the far left-hand side, and then our infiltrators have been put out. There's one unit of Kroot just tucked in the woods here. Coming down, Fire Warrior gun line. I've decided just to put the troops out. I was going to put things in reserve here just because of a fear of the James is super heavy, but we're going to go for it. So the gun line's been put out. One unit of Fire Warriors here. Pathfinders in the centre, and then the Imperial is with another unit of Fire Warriors just there. And at the back, with that 60-inch range, we've put the XV-88s. Nice commanding view over the battlefield. The objectives here and here, so a good view from the majority of the tower force. And then coming out across on the right hand side, long strikes just tucked behind the trees here, and then hammerhead number 2 just on the right hand flank. And the plan here to deal with that super heavy is to create problems for him straight away. 1 hammerhead, 2 hammerheads, and then the Riptide on the far left hand side. So we'll be able to coordinate some firing, and then the plan, or hope, is that James will divert fire to try and deal with these threats and not start targeting the stuff in the middle. That's the plan. We'll see if it pulls off. Plus we're playing an ambush with the crisis teams on that super heavy. So coming around deployment for James, he's got a Chimera and infantry squad with a las cannon just deployed on the left hand side. 1 demolisher just behind the woods here, and then another infantry squad with las cannon deployed inside the Chimera there. So like pillboxes here, like bunkers to try and break open for the tower. The super heavy dominates the centre of the table. The Storm Saw, which we saw in our Apocalypse game, nasty tank that's got to be dealt with. That cannot be ignored. If that survives through to the later turns of the game, then the tower can kiss victory goodbye. And another squad in the centre here, it's the Commander squad with las cannon in the Chimera as well. Platoon command just there at the front, and then the actual army commanders just in the Chimera at the back here. Ratlings have taken up position just inside the rocks here. You can see they've got a sniping position. They work their way into a good field of view. Mortars just tucked at the back, and then conscripts with the commissar here, and then running all the way through the woods, big unit, and then demolisher just on the right hand side. And then reserves for James. Hellhound's coming on reserves. It's typical tactic. The rest of the stuff is in the transports. And these guys, the old Stormtroopers, or Tempest as they're called now, will be arriving by Deep Strike. And then for the tower in reserve, arriving by Deep Strike, is the Fire Knife crisis team, and then the commander with his crisis team as well. And this squad with this commander will not scatter when they arrive by Deep Strike. So critical units here. I think it might be these that could give us the best chance against that super. We'll have to say the tower do have options against it, but it certainly is an intimidating opponent to face off against. So we're going to go into the first turn. James, do you want to steal the initiative? It does. So a tasty 6 would start the game off well for the guard. A 2. So it's tower turn 1. It is night fighting. We'll see what happens. Right, so turn 1 movement for the tower. Very cautious movement going on here. A lot of thought going into this. It really gives you something to think about when you're up against something as big as that super heavy. And James still has other heavy options as well, those demolishers and the las cannons. So it's a tough one. Fire Warriors moving out up behind the ruins here. Kroot just tucking in as well. Just holding position, just taking advantage, being in the woods there. Then the Riptide's just moved out here, just taking advantage of his range. He's got a clear view up to the tanks clustered in the middle there. XV-88's holding their position. Got a view up the table. and then the Crute and Fire Warriors with the Imperial just moving up behind this big piece of cover here, hopefully out of view of the Super Heavy. Pathfinder's just watching there. Long Strike's just shifted over to the left and has got a nice clear view through to the Super Heavy, and then Hammerhead number 2 is advanced and has got a view through to the Super Heavy as well, and just keeping its frontal armour facing the Chimera over there. Got to be careful, there's a Demolisher just tucked behind the woods here, but that's the movement for the tower. We'll see how effective our firepower can be. It is night fighting, but tower technology can bypass that no problem. Right, so here we go. Long Strike's going to fire, and we'll see what we can do. Target, obvious, it's at the Super Heavy, so 2+ to hit. A 6 is a good start, and then we want a 4 or more. A 1, I think we'll re-roll that because he's a tank hunter, and he gets a 3, so it's a bounce. Every miss adds pressure onto the tower. Hammerhead number 2. It's going to be side armour, but James is going to get cover save through the woods here. And 3 is a hit. A 1 is a fail. So both Hammerheads ineffective. Bad news for the tower. Right, so Riptide firing now. We're going to try and land there with our Nova Charge hit. The hit there would be good. Yeah, scatters 3 inches, is ballistic skill 3, so that is a hit. And the way that's positioned is it's going to clip both Chimeras and the Super Heavy and at side armour. So there is a chance here the Riptide could do something. Right, so it's Strength 9 Ordnance. 2d6 choose the best. We'll take on the Chimera first. There's no cover for that front Chimera. So Strength 9, double 1. Oh dear. Right, the Chimera behind. 6 and a 4, it's penetrating hit. James needs to roll up cover save of 4 up. And he gets a 1, so that's gone through. It's AP2, so a nice tasty 6, no, a 2. So it becomes a 3. So it's the whole point in shaken. So we've got a slight amount of damage there, not bad. But the big one, the side armour on the Super Heavy is 13. So Strength 9, 5, that's pretty good, that's 14. Penetrating hit. James is going to get a cover save of 4 up. He wants to pass this one. He'll be happy if he does. It's gone under the Super Heavy, so we'll have to see what it was here. It is a 2. The round's gone in. A good 6 for the tower, and there'll be a cheer from the tower line. No, it becomes a 4, so 1 whole point. The thing is that Super Heavy ignores everything. Shaken, stunned, immobilised, weapon destroyed. So it's a gradual grinding mission here to get rid of it. So 1 whole point down and 8 left to go. It's a start at least, but it could have gone better. So we'll do some infantry fire here, see how effective we can be. Right, so tower shooting on turn 1. Disappointing is the word. Long Strike firing ahead, no damage, and Hammerhead number 2, no damage either, so frustrating for the tower there. I was relying on those 2 to do something. XV-88's firing ahead, and then combining that fire with these Crute just here, and then the Fire Warriors just there. We use the marker lights on the conscripts and have blown away, or as many as we could see. About half that unit's gone. Yeah, about 14 of them killed there, so it's not bad shooting, let's push them away. But it's not really conscripts that we're after, so frustrating stuff. The Crute moving up through the woods, and then the Fire Warriors, we're all 6 here for our run move. So the F4's just kept at the back here, and then a section of the squad has gone up the hillside. And just coming across, the only fire left was the Riptide. He did better. His Nova Charge shot fired and landed just here and caused 1 whole point on this Chimera and a whole point on the Super Heavy. So we scratched it, but nowhere near what we need to have an impact. So it's Imperial Guard turn 1 coming up. There's no assaults here, so we're going to go into Imperial Guard turn 1. Here we go. confidence now with the Guard. He's surging forwards. Imperial Guard always confident when they have bigger tanks. That's a fact. So if ever the Tau needed their battle suits to arrive, it'll be on the next turn. There's a nice spot there that we could land. If James is aware of that threat, perhaps it's at the back of his mind, but that may be the only option that we have. But they've got to land and they've got to do something on turn 2, or that thing's just going to lumber ahead and take out everything in its path. Looks like, though, he is going to target the hammerheads, so the plan is working. We're diverting the fire away from the Tau gun line. So when you're faced with an opponent like that, you can try and divert their attention away, and that tactic seems to be working at the moment for the Tau. So James has got to be careful. Big tank, but it may be open to attack here. Try and keep these 2 hammerheads alive, keep the gun line alive, and then try and save the day with the battle suits. That's the plan. We'll see what we can do. Tough one. Right, so movement for the Imperial Guard on turn 1. Chimera's holding position here. It's a good spot for it. Decent cover save. And Lascan on the back. Demolisher's moved out from behind the woods with a view up to the hammerhead and reckon is in range, so he'll have a go there. Other Chimera just anchoring on the end here. Super Heavy's moved up, out and across, so it's creeping up the table. Big lumbering behemoth. And then the 2 Chimeras moving out as well. So a bit of aggression in the centre from James. Rattlings holding their position here, and then the conscripts actually have fallen back to try and stay alive. And then the Demolisher, trying to push through the trees here, has actually got himself stuck, would you believe? Conscripts actually haven't moved at all. It's not sure what to do. Perhaps discussing with the Commissar what they should do next. The comrade's dead in front of them and are point blank refusing to advance. So shooting now for the Guard. James is excited about his shooting. He's going to start issuing orders. And the big question is, how effective is this thing going to be? If it cuts big holes out this Tau force, then the game will be over. Just on shooting here, James is going to fire the Apocalyptic Blast, and he wants it to land just here on Long Strike. Remember, Long Strike's not going to get any cover. So, how big is an Apocalyptic Blast? Oh dear. So, fire it. That's the point there. You're just going to try and hit. Okay, he wants it to go there. You're just putting it a bit further forward so it doesn't scatter off the table. A wild scatter he needs, otherwise he's going to get this hit here. Oh, whoa. He's rolled a 9 and it's gone back. But he's got the hit that he needs. So it's strength 10, AP 1, and ignores cover. And it's ordnance.
Primary weapon.
And primary weapon. Oh dear. Right, here we go. Roll it up. A what? A 2 and a 1? Oh, interesting. Interesting. It was a big boom, but then there was nothing else. And he just tried to re-roll and he got a double 1. Now he got a double 6. Oh dear, that's just dice for you. Right, so the Tau happy? We're happy. Long Strike lives. 2 las cannons now coming across and going to try and take out Hammerhead number 2. So forced to hit. Now we get a 2+ cover save because night fighting. So he's got 1 hit. And it's strength 9. And 12. Is it side armor? Yes, it would be. But we actually are going to get a 2-up cover save. 2. Done it. And that is a 4-up save for the cover. +1 for stealth because it's night fighting. And then +1 for disruption pods. So it's well protected, that Hammerhead. So Tau technology paying off here. Plus the darkness shrouding us. That is the end of Imperial Guard shooting. Just to report here, no damage done from these. The Hammerhead is unscathed. Long Strike's unscathed as well. 1 Kroot killed by the Demolisher. And then a couple of casualties on here. 2 Fire Warriors killed. It would have been 3, but we had that 6+ feel no pain. It paid off. That was 5 from the Chimera just down here. And we all saw the big boom, and nothing happened here. And then the conscripts, couple of shots, didn't damage the Kroot. And then main damage, the rattlings, little brats that they are, firing down, shot 2 of my Pathfinders. Would have been 3, but again we made a 6+ feel no pain. But that's annoying. Taking out 2 of those. Might have to try and deal with those rattlings next turn. Right. Then just another 1 fire warrior just at the top killed here. James fired the Chimera just over there. Frustrating for the guard. James is annoyed. It's been poor shooting from both sides on turn 1. I thought it'd be a lot more spectacular, but it wasn't. So that marks the end of Imperial Guard turn 1. There's no assaults. So we're going to move on now to Tau turn 2. Big rolls here. Fire knife. Let's try and get these on a 3+. A 2. No. And then the commander. Come on. A 2. Aye. For some reason, the commander has decided not to come on at this point in the game. Wonder why. We'll have to see in later turns. But there's no crisis battlesuit support on turn 2. The Tau are going to have to manage without them. And I'm not sure whether we can do that. We'll have to see. Tau movement on turn 2 coming up. I'll tell you why we failed that, and that is because we rolled James's grey dice. I need to use the Tau dice. I would have got a 4 and a 4. That's what happens when you use somebody else's dice. But the result stands. No crisis suits this turn. Tau movement on turn 2. There's been a fair bit of movement. Riptide is actually fast moving thing. 12 inches have gone from here, jumped over here. And then we've activated the Nova reactor, and we will thrust 4d6 in the assault phase. We'll try and jump over the trees and present a problem for James's immobilised demolisher just on the other side. And then the fire warriors, they've got down from the top there. No point really in being there at the moment, so they're hidden behind here. And then the Pathfinders have stayed where they are. And then the Kroot are making a dash across the open ground, and I'm going to head towards James's conscripts as well. And really it's a distraction if James's guardsmen take on them. I'm sacrificing the Kroot here so that he doesn't target the fire warriors. Just a typical way to use mercenaries. And then the fire warriors here, order 6 moving through cover. They've set themselves up for a side armour shot on the Chimera just over there. And the XV-88s were facing ahead, but they've switched around because they've got a target at the side armour of the Demolisher just over in the woods. Then Longstrike, brave as he is, has just shifted out a little bit to the left, so he's got a clear view through to the Super Heavy. If he's going to die, then he'll die fighting. Then Hammerhead number 2's backed off, and just to a view through the woods over to the Demolisher. Debatable whether it's going to have a cover save or not. So that's the Tau movement. Crisis suit's not here. Tau are going to have to cope without them for now. So we'll go on to shooting. Let's see if Longstrike can do something. 2+. He's got it, just about. 4 up would be good. A 6 is a clean, penetrating hit. There is no cover. So another 6, and we'll let out a cheer. A 1. That becomes a 3, so it's another hull point. So that's 2 down and 7 left to go. So it's something at least. He always wings a target so far. Longstrike has never really destroyed anything in our games. James has said there's no cover. The shot goes straight through the trees and to the front of the Demolisher there, so it's a 3+. We hit and we bounce. Disappointing. Tau Hammerhead number 2 hasn't performed too well. So that's it. We'll do the rest of the shooting here for the Tau. Again, Hammerhead's not performing too well. So Tau turn 2 shooting, disappointing from the Hammerheads. Failed to do any damage, but damage coming from an unlikely source. The XV-88s saw their target here, side armour of this Demolisher, and James failed 2 cover saves, 2 glancing hits, so that's knocked down. Only 1 hull point left, so it's good news for the Tau. Longstrike failed, so he deserves to die in a way. Fire Warriors here, just holding their ground. 3 marker light hits up on the Rattlings, boosted the ballistic skill of the Kroot here, and eradicated their cover. 7 kills, so they've been wiped out. And then Fire Warriors firing across, trying to catch side arm on the Chimera, didn't do any damage. Kroot holding their position, and then we've just done assault moves now. There's no charges, so the Riptide has boosted 16 inches up and over the trees and into the Imperial Guard position. So that creates a problem for James. See how he's going to deal with that. So that marks the end of Tau turn 2. Let's go on to Imperial Guard turn 2. No crisis suits on the table. The Storm Sword, only 2 hull points worth of damage. That's still on the way. Still moving out. Still dangerous. What will it do this turn? It's got multiple options. We'll see what James has planned. But Tau causing casualties. Whittling away at the guard. Nothing too significant at the moment. But let's see what happens. Right, Imperial Guard turn 2, and there's been a lot of movement. The Hellhound has arrived, come on from reserve just there. It seems like suicide coming on there with the Riptide hanging around, but I think James is after the Kroot with the Flamer, and then the Conscripts are on the move. They're coming up through the gap here. Demolisher's just holding where it is in the woods. You can barely see it there. And then the Chimera's moving out aggressively. It's got a Flamer mounted on the front there, so he's going to go after Kroot again. There's a lot of flame weapons going to be taking on Kroot here. And then the Super Heavy's just squared itself up. Looks like it's going to go after Long Strike again. And then in a bizarre twist, he was looking to Deep Strike here with the Tempests, but scattered 11 inches and landed here. And now the Ethereal could be in some trouble. Then coming across, the Demolisher's passed his test and has moved out across the terrain, looking to fire through the woods and take out Hammerhead number 2. And the final bit of movement, one of the Chimeras has swung around and has gone 12 inches and let off some smoke. So a bit of movement from the guard, readjustment, and now we'll see how effective their firepower will be. Can Long Strike survive a second shot from that Apocalyptic Blast? Now, James has done it again. He's firing that big template at a single tank. So we're happy with that. Imagine if he'd had 2 rounds of fire into this area of the tower position. There wouldn't be much left. So it's going according to plan. The deception is working, or the distraction would be a better description. Right, James is perked up here. It's going well. It's dishing out some wounds. Some Kroot have been burnt out. You can smell the chicken. It's burning. And now he's got a wound on the... He's just gone wild. That's off the table. He's just missed with the Demolisher. It's amazing what one wound can do. Wound coming in from a lowly Chimera, scatter laser, rolled a 1. So we've lost a wound on there. And some Kroot casualties coming in. It's tight, this game. It's so hard to call. Both sides frustrated with the poor firepower coming out. Approaching turn 3 now. And still most of the stuff on the table. Here we go. Boom. James is going to try and land the shot just there. Here we go. It's a real contest between these two. He's got a hit this time. No cover allowed. His ordnance, is it? Oh dear, primary weapon. Okay, strength. Dear me, 15. He's glided through. +2 on the result. If he gets a 5 or a 6, he's going to beat. Long Strike is gone. Imperial Guard shooting on turn 2. It's been the best round of shooting so far from both sides. 1 wound on the Riptide. That came from a humble shot from Chimera. No other damage there. This Kroot squad remains untouched. Heavy Flamer here took a toll on the Kroot here. We passed morale. And then the Inferno Cannon firing from the Hellhound has killed a whole load of Fire Warriors. We've lost 5. So that's not good. They passed morale as well. It's this Leadership 10 bubble from the Ethereal that's done it. But he's just about alive. The elites here, Tempests fired, Heavy Flamer, and all those hotshot lads guns, and has pulled that squad right down. Just 2 left, and a number of them sacrificed themselves in order to save the Ethereal. But a surprise attack there, and Tau troop choices have taken a beating this turn, and then the best result so far. Long Strike is spread all over the battlefield now. Bits of his tank all over the place. Apocalyptic Blast has blown that tank to smithereens, sending tremors and shockwaves through the Tau line. It's looking quite empty for the Tau now. Guard have made a mark on this game. It's going well for James. Hammerhead number 2, passing all of its cover saves. No damage there. If there was any point that we needed the crisis suits, it is now. We are hoping they turn up on turn 3. So here we go. Tau turn 3 coming up. The game is livening up. Right, here we go. 2 big rolls. Does the commander arrive on a 3+? Yes, he does. That's that squad there. And then just to make it a Hollywood moment of 3+ for these guys, yes, they do. You see what happens when you roll your own dice. All the crisis suits have arrived. This squad will not scatter, and it will be interesting to see where these guys land. So here we go, Tau turn 3 coming up. Here we go, better late than never. They've turned up, but do they land where we want them to? Ah, uh-oh, we've got trouble. Yeah, we got trouble here. Tau coordinates have got scrambled. 11 inches takes us onto the super heavies. We've got a mishap now, uh-oh. So all we need to do now is not get a 1. A 5. Whew. Right, so delayed. It was a risk, they haven't arrived. Not good, not good. Right, so Tau turn 3, pressure's on, crew holding position. Riptide just generated a 3+ invuln save and getting ready to charge into that Hellhound. That's got to go. It's a dangerous threat, that one. And then the Ethereal's left the 2-man Fire Warrior unit and has come down and joined the Pathfinders, and he's granting the extra shot for everyone within 12. With the pulse weapons, including the Kroot there, so we're going to try and just volley fire these guys. XV-88's holding their position. They've got multiple targets. They could fire over there and try and take out the Demolisher, or fire straight ahead and take out that Chimera with the heavy flamer. Difficult choice. We'll have to see what happens. And then coming around the side here, Hammerhead number 2, last one that's alive, can see through, and a shot at the super heavy. And then coming across, we've landed here, no scatter, and we're within angle of catching the rear armour, and no cover save as well. We can see more than 25% of the target, so very, very important rolls here to see what will happen. So Tau shooting now, coming up on turn 3. How effective will it be? Will it be a military blunder, or will it be Tau Commander to the rescue? Here we go. So the rear armour of this thing is actually rear armour 12, so it's a tough job here. So 3 fusion blasters, start with our best weapon. They're not twin linked, so 4s would be good. Oh dear. Right, okay. That's the end of them. The gun drones can't do anything. Cyclic Iron Blaster will fire 3 shots at strength 7. 2s to hit. 7 and armor 12. Commander, come on. Yes, he's got a penetrating hit. It's AP4, so just a 6 would be handy. A 1, no, it's another hull point. Okay, that's 1 victory point there. And then rapid fire 2 plasma rifle shots. He's got the hits. 6s to glance, no. Then the rest of his squad, this is the last of the firing. 4s to hit, 2 hits, and then 6s for glances, nothing. So disappointing is the word. Uh-oh, the commander could be in trouble. Right, Hammerhead number 2. James will get cover from this shot. 3s to hit, a 1. Oh no, Tau, feel the pain. Tau could be in trouble now. Imperial Guard have the edge. Disappointing firepower again. You can't keep doing that in games and expect to get away with it. Right, shooting for the Tau on turn 3. Mixed results. The Riptide firing down has immobilised the Hellhound and 1 hull point. It's not bad. Kroot firing through have killed 2 of the conscripts and they've gone to ground. And then this Fire Warrior squad did very well. And 5 from the Kroot and the other Fire Warrior squad has brought the Tempests down just to 1 man, and he's busted brow, falling back 4 inches. So that's good news. Bad news came here. The XV-88s fired ahead and 3 of the missile drones and didn't even scratch the Chimera. So not a good result there. And then coming around, no damage from the Hellhound. And then this squad at the back has caused 1 hull point. That's not enough. The Super Heavy is still there and still going strong. So Guards still have the edge here. A couple of assault moves for the Tower. The Riptide's going to charge into the Hellhound, and then a thrust move from these guys here, but they could be in a lot of trouble. See what happens. So assaults now for the Tower on turn 3. So assaults for the Tower, just trying to compensate a little bit here, just spreading ourselves out. We've got 4 inches of the thrust move with the jetpacks, and then coming across, the Riptide has made it into combat with the Hellhound. We better destroy it this turn. Right, Riptide has failed. We've got 2 hits, but failed to penetrate the rear armour, so bad news there. This Tower army is being tested by the Imperial Guard. Be a tragedy if we lose our second game, but that's what may well happen here. We're worried James might get hammered. He was intimidated by this Tower force, but it's going well for the Guard at the moment. Just spreading out the back here, and that marks the end of Tower turn 3. So Imperial Guard turn 3 coming up. The momentum is with the Guard at the moment. Can they continue that? And the answer to that may well be yes, because that thing dominates the centre of the table. Right, Imperial Guard turn 3. Chimera is making an armoured assault through the gap here. Been joined by a 3rd Chimera just there, and pushing on and now covering that objective. That heavy flame is going to go after the Fire Warriors. And the Cascarine didn't rally, so he's fallen back. And then the Demolisher's just here. Going to look to fire forwards through the cover. Again, it's Hammerhead number 2. Just shifting along 12 inches with this Chimera. And then James's Super Heavy has spun around and is going to look to take out the Commander and his squad with that awesome apocalyptic blast weapon. And then it's a square off here, going to try and take out the Riptide as he fights the Hellhound in close combat. So Imperial Guard pushing ahead now, see if they can push home their advantage with some good shooting on this turn. Right, so shooting for the Imperial Guard on turn 3, it's gone quite well. 1 Kroot killed there from snap fire from the conscripts. And coming across, only 2 Fire Warriors left here, and then the other Fire Warrior squad's been wiped out. That's fire from the lead Chimera, and then some damage coming on the Kroot as well. Better roll up morale for these units. Kroot here, passed, and the Fire Warriors here busted on 11, and they're going to go back 7 inches. So Tau units starting to fall back now. It's not going well. Pathfinder lost as well from mortar fire. No damage on the XV-88s. And then coming around, Hammerhead number 2 untouched. And then a whole lot of fire coming in. Most of the damage coming in from the Super Heavy has brought this squad down to just the commander and team leader. And we just need to roll up morale for them as well. We don't want to foul this, otherwise we're looking at a disaster. No, 7. That's it, that's the end of shooting for the Imperial Guard. There's no assaults, we just have a continuing melee going on with the Riptide, which seems to be the only unit that's performing well for the Tower at the moment. And that's a result of 1 hull point dealt out on the Hellhound there. So that's the end of Imperial Guard turn 3. It's definitely in their favour. Tau turn 4 coming up. Can they remedy the situation? Right, Tau turn 4 movement. The Riptide's has pulled out of combat. Has tried to activate his Nova Reactor and has failed. Has given himself a wound. It's not good. We need to keep him alive. Crew have just moved out 3 inches, just moving along this direction. We're going to need to crowd these objectives towards the end of the game to win. XV-88's holding their position, and the Pathfinders as well. These two are going to try and work together to destroy that lead Chimera. If we can't destroy that, then the situation is hopeless. Fire Warriors have rallied, just 2 of them left. Crew moving around, they're on the objective. We're going to try and take out that Cascrin there. Hammerhead number 2's moved out, side armour on the Demolisher here. And then good news for the Tau, the other Crisis team has arrived, and they were here, scattered back, but still within good range on the Super Heavy. And then in a cunning move, the commander's moved away from his unit, so just the team leader left there. He's going to try and take on the Super Heavy, and then he's going to try and move in and take on the mortar teams in a 1-man mission. Can the commander salvage the situation? This is a real test for this Tau force. Right, it's pretty good shooting. We're just on the shooting here for this squad. 4 hits, 2 penetrating hits and 1 glance. We've given the glance, that is 5 hull points so far, and then I've got the results here. It's AP1. Come on. 2 and a 1, so there's 2 more hull points. Poor dice score there. So that puts him on 5, 6, 7. We need 2 more hull points and that thing's going to blow. Where are we going to get these shots from? We've still got missile pods to fire. Missile pods can get glancing hits. Forced to hit. Not bad. Get 2 6s from this and you can say goodbye to the Super Heavy. 6 and a 5, that's another hull point gone. The sweat is starting to appear on James's brow. 1 more hull point and it's over. We now turn to the lone team leader. He has a fusion blaster, 4+ for a hit. 6 is a hit. We just have to penetrate. It's front armor 14 and it's strength 8, 2d6. A 12. He has failed. He has failed. There is nothing left that can shoot at it, or is there? Hold on. Hammerhead number 2. I'm going to swing the railgun around. Let's have a look at the cover situation. James will get cover. We need a 3+ to hit. A 1! It lives! Oh no! No, it can't be, it can't be. Is there anything else left that can shoot at this thing? Yes, there is. The Riptide. The Riptide. He's going to get cover for it. This is an act of desperation. We were meant to fight. What do we do? No, we're going to leave it. We're just going to have to leave it like that. It can't be destroyed. That's annoying. It's annoying. Commander's firing. He's fired overcharge into here. He's got the hit. It's strength 8, front armor 14. We need a 6. If we get this 6, it's the end of the super heavy. We've got the 6. The super heavy's gone. Super heavy's gone. Commander did it on a 6. James isn't happy. It's perfectly legal, but it's gone through on a 6. We fired through. We got the hit. Strength 8, front armor 14. Needed a 6. Got the 6. The commander single-handedly has destroyed the last point on that super heavy tank and could have saved the day. We're going to roll up now to see what kind of explosion this is. It is a 1, so it's quite controlled. We'll just sort this out now. So that marks the end of shooting on turn 4 for the tower. What a bizarre twist of events. The very last shot of that turn, and the commander has got that 6 and brought down the super heavy. Would you believe it? Shockwave sent through here. So that's that. It's assaults now. The Riptide can't charge. He's destroyed his target, and there's no other assaults left. So just some thrust moves for the tower. So thrust moves for the tower on turn 4. The Riptide's got an 11. He's leaped over the burning wreck and set himself in position there. Then coming across the commander and the last crisis suit there, just ducking behind cover, and then we rolled an 11 for these guys to swooping around. Suddenly the tower force comes alive. Huge titanic explosion that took place in the centre there, and it has caused shockwaves in this game. Could this be the biggest turnaround that we've seen? The tower looked doomed. Now the game is back on. Imperial Guard turn 4 coming up. Imperial Guard movement on turn 4. Chimera's swung around. Another Chimera appears in front of the tower gun line, looking to come round. This squad moving up, just having to move those bags, remembering that he was pinned, so they've had to stay where they are. Just managed to save the crew there, perhaps. And then coming around, Demolisher's backing off. It's a change of plan now for the Imperial Guard. This one moving across. There's a lot of tower battle suits now. This Chimera's span around. The Mortars holding where they are, and then this squad with the Commissar looking to perhaps charge the Riptide. James has a plan to try and pin it in position using the Commissar to shoot anyone that runs away. Right, shooting for the Imperial Guard is pretty good. Crew have gone. That was Mortifier that did that. Yeah, one Pathfinder gone. Coming around, the Hammerhead still lives, then firing across the Demolisher cannon here, and then this Demolisher cannon as well has brought them down just to 1 left. 2 wounds on the commander, just multiple hits coming in from the Chimera here, and that is about it. So assaults, yes, for the guard. Pretty good shooting. They've done well. Let's see if they can push home the advantage in the combat. Combat results for the guard here. Would you believe it? The conscripts have beaten the Riptide. 1 bayonet wound and then power fist wound as well. We fouled our saves. 2 wounds, 1 wound left, and no damage done on the Riptide there. And James is saying that the Commissar is just going to keep them stuck in the fight and is going to shoot anyone that runs away. So the Riptide is tied down by conscripts. Imperial Guard have readdressed the balance here. Tau down to hardly anything. We'll see what we can do. Tau turn 5 coming up. Right, movement for the Tau on turn 5. Just the last remnants of the force moving in. Crew moving in for the kill here. Just moving in through the woods and the rubble. Trying to take out this Chimera here. If this can be destroyed, then there's a chance. 2 Fire Warriors moving up. And then the Imperial and the last of the Pathfinders moving up as well. And the XV-88's holding position. Going to let off a volley at that second Chimera. Coming around, Hammerhead number 2's advancing. Just going to advance and fire at the Demolisher on the last hull point. 2 jumpsuits now moving into that gap and looking to take on the Chimera and the contents of it inside. Commander's pushing on here. He's going to try and take out the mortars and advance forwards. So Tau in response. Let's see if they can make significant progress in this turn. Right, Tau shooting on turn 5. The Hammerhead hit but failed to do any damage to the Demolisher there. Then coming across, success story for the Crisis suits. This one here, the fire knife, fired through and blew up the Chimera transport, killing a few of the guys inside as well. So it's good news there. And we might be poised for an assault. And the cyclic iron blaster from the commander. 3 kills, but James went to ground and got a 6, so saved one of the bases. But good results there for the Tau. Very good indeed. And then coming around, this game's so tight. Coming around here, just a run move from the Pathfinders over towards this objective. They will count now in 7th edition as holding that. And then the objective is just in between the 2 wrecks there. So the Kroot have moved in, and the 2 Fire Warriors have moved in, and they're now holding that objective as well. And remember that our army is a bound army, so therefore our troops' choice, this is count as holding, even though James has other units there as well. So it's a case of holding on to that position for the Tau. We might be able to get a victory here, would you believe it? So we're going to go on to assaults now, thrust moves. We'll see if the Tau can close in again and make more of an impact on this turn. So results for the Tau on turn 5. This crisis suit charged in and beat James by 1. He fouled and we caught and chased him down. So moving 3 inches in consolidation there. That crisis suit has won a small victory just in the gap. Failed to reach in combat, and turn up here, the Riptide's been brought down, rolled another 1 on our save. Commissar and his triumphant unit of conscripts now moves in towards the objective, so that unit's freed up and we'll be able to claim the objective there. We just don't know who's going to win this one. It's backwards and forwards. James has this turn to see what he can do. So Imperial Guard turn 5 coming up. Right, Imperial Guard moving on turn 5. The Demolishers moved out to here and swung around. He's going to try and get a shot off the crisis suits. James absolutely hates. Chimera spinning around as well, supporting fire coming in, just ignoring the hammerhead as it swings around. Mortar just sitting here. Conscripts just moving up. Demolisher just immobilised and looking through the woods at the crisis suit. And then James's squad's reacting down here. One peeling off to the right to take on the Kroot. The other one going through the gaps to take on the Pathfinders. Can the Tau hold at this point? Critical units, lots of units holding objectives here. Will they be able to hold and secure victory? One of the closest games that we have ever played. So tight, we can't call it from start to finish. Let's see how the Imperial Guard can do with some shooting. See if they can pull this one out the bag. Imperial Guard shooting on turn 5. Kroot taking some casualties here from the heavy flamer. James actually did split fire with a new special order that you can do. Flamer, las guns coming down here, kill a load of Kroot. We held morale. And then 1 Fire Warrior left, casualty from the mortars coming down. Yeah, and then 1 Pathfinder taken out by the commander with a pistol. Then the last of the crisis teams taken out. The Melter took out 1 here and Demolisher took out the other. So the crisis teams are gone, just the commander left. And then now assaults for the guard, charging the Ethereal's squad over there. Will they be able to do it and push them off the objective? Alright, so results for combats here. The unit charged in, no damage on Overwatch. James issued a challenge to the Ethereal. Ethereal died. 5 Pathfinders fighting back, got 5 hits, and then 5 wounds on top of that. James fouled 2 saves, 1 wound on here and a guy died. As a result, even though the Ethereal died, it's drawn combat. And then, would you believe it, ladies and gentlemen, 3 inches, both units are in. James's troops, but he's an unbound army, so he's not going to get that objective secured special rule. So, not held, held by the Tau, and then held by the Imperial Guard. So that marks the end of Imperial Guard turn 5. Just calculating up points here. So, line breaker for the Imperial Guard, we don't think so. It's 12 inches, no. So, Tau got 3 points for taking out the super heavy. That's the advantage if you can destroy it in the game. So 3 points there. And then line breaker, the commander's got line breaker at the back, so that's 4 points. First blood to the Tau, 5 points. And then 1 objective here secured, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8 points. And then for the Imperial Guard, they're holding a 3-point objective just over the other side. That is 3 points. And they get a bonus point for killing the Ethereal, that's 4 points. So final score 8-4 to the Tau. It could have been a lot worse. Both armies very badly mauled in this game. One of the tightest games we've ever played. Very enjoyable. But the Tau edged the victory here by a Kroot's whisker.